All right, last week was a lot, and I mean that in the most honest, unglamorous way possible. My husband found out that his shoulder cannot be repaired, it has to be fully replaced. And then we went camping, which is supposed to be our escape. Well, the kitchen faucet in our trailer leaked, and water went everywhere, all over the floor, just it was everywhere. Then our side by side broke down, probably blew the motor. And we're talking thousands of dollars in repairs, most likely. And then on the way home Sunday, we realized our gas can fell out of the back of the truck somewhere on the way home. We must have left the tailgate down. Yeah. Whew. But that was the final straw. Now, I need you to understand. It was a gas can, a $70, one of those really nice ones that has the nozzle on the bottom that you have to just push and you don't have to lift the whole can up to pour, right? It's convenient and it's a little spendy, but it's a gas can. And I want to be honest with you about something because I think it matters. It wasn't really about the gas can. I have spent most of my life believing deep down in a place I don't always have words for, that money is for others. That when things are good, something is coming to take it back. That security is temporary and disaster is inevitable. Now, I've done a lot of work on that belief, real work. But a week like this one, it reaches right past all the work and finds the old version of you. The version that's already adding it up. The shoulder, the motor, the faucet, and now this. Well, the scarcity mindset doesn't announce itself. It just starts doing math. And when you realize that the gas can was gone, I fell into my old friend despair. Not dramatically. I didn't throw anything. I didn't ugly cry. I just sat there in total despair. Like everything from the entire week had been stacking up brick by brick, and that the gas can was the last one. It was ridiculous. I knew it was ridiculous, even while it was happening. And here's what I want to talk about, because I think you've had a week like this. Maybe not this exact week, but you know this feeling. The feeling where the small thing becomes the everything. Where the gas can isn't really about the gas can at all. I know you've all had that week. That despair, it lasted me about 10 minutes. And I want you to hear that. 10 minutes. Me and my husband sat next to each other quietly in our own minds after we realized we'd lost the gas can. And then I said something about feeling like I thought me quitting was going to put us in a better place, but wondered if I was wrong. And then he asked if I was giving up on what I started. I felt the answer in my entire body. No. And then something in me shifted, and I made myself go back through the week, back through all of it. And I started looking for the wins, which usually I'm better at this than I was this week, because they were there. They're always there. I just couldn't see them while I was drowning. So here's what I found when I looked. Kevin's shoulder, it can be replaced. That's not nothing. That's everything. We thought we were getting bad news, and instead we got a path forward. That's a win. The water in the trailer, well, we got it mopped up, found a quick connect that was loose, and got it fixed. Win. The side-by-side broke down, but we weren't far from our property. We limped it back into camp, and then my son Brody, because he's the kind of kid, I can't say kid, he's a man, who just shows up. So he left his side-by-side on the property for us to use and let us bring ours down on his trailer so we could get it looked at. And again, Kevin and Brody will save us a ton of money because they will do the repairs themselves. I didn't even have to ask. Brody just immediately jumped in. Another win. The gas can really isn't that big a deal. But I couldn't see any of that until I stopped long enough to look around and get out of sitting in despair. Here's what I know to be true. We are always going to have hard weeks. Always. There is not a version of this life where the trials stop coming at all. If you're waiting for the stretch where nothing goes wrong, well, you'll wait for forever. The shoulder, the water, the motor, the gas can, life is going to keep adding things to that list. And if you grew up without, if money was survival and not security, your brain is going to do something with that list. It is going to assign it a meaning. It is going to whisper that this is proof. Proof you were right not to get too comfortable. Proof that abundance was never really yours to keep. That whisper is a liar. But you have to catch it before it writes the whole story. Because here's the question I want to leave you with today. How long are you staying there? Because you are going to get to that place, that despair, that overwhelm, that moment where everything you're looking at just confirms every hard thing you've ever believed about yourself, about your life. You're going to get there, and that part is not up for debate. The only question is how long you stay. I stayed for 10 minutes. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because a year ago, I would have stayed a week. 2 years ago, longer. The ability to shorten that time, to feel it, name it, and then choose to look for the wins, that is a skill, a real skill. And it's one you can build. It's one I've had to build. So, how do you do it? How do you get the 10 minutes instead of 10 days? Well, you start with permission. Give yourself permission to feel it. Don't skip over the hard part and force a positive spin before you're ready. That's not strength. That's avoidance. So sit in it. Name it. Say it out loud if you have to. And then, when you're ready, even if it's just barely ready, but when you're ready, ask yourself one question. Where are the wins? Not what went right, because that's too big sometimes. Nothing went right, right? But wins are smaller than that. A win is we got the water mopped up. A win is Brody, being Brody, took care of things. A win is the shoulder can be replaced. Wins don't have to be big. They just have to be real. And you have to look for them. But when you do and you find them, even the small ones, write them down. Say them out loud. Let them compete with the voice that has been narrating your disaster. Because that voice, it's loud. Mine's yelling. But the wins, they're real. Once I could look at them, it changed everything. The gas can is gone. I'm not getting it back. But I spent 10 minutes on it, and then I let it go. The problems are coming. Their hard weeks are coming. The moment when something small is suddenly everything, that's coming too. But you don't have to live there. Feel it, find the wins, and then keep moving. That's what it looks like to not give up. It doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it just looks like 10 minutes and then choosing to look up. You know, I didn't understand that for a long time, and I was more focused on the fact that I got there than on how long I stayed there. And I realized that has been such a major part of my story. I'm always going to go back there first. Is choosing not to stay in that part of my story. That is going to be the game changer. That is going to be why I get successful, why I stay successful, is because I don't try to pretend like everything went perfect. It didn't. But I can see the wins in the imperfection, right? I can see, yeah, it sucks that my side-by-side broke down. But it broke down when we were at our property, and it broke down close enough that we could limp it in. We had been planning a trip to Canal. If it broke down there, it'd been a whole different story. So if it's going to break down, it broke down at the best possible place it could have broke down. There's my win. It's going to break down either way. We're not going to stop it from happening. But the win is it could have been worse. I've had to always see the silver lining. I've said this many times, but my granddaughter Jordan taught me the silver lining. She, when she was little, about 3 years old, it was raining. You're going to hear this story time and time again because it matters. But it was raining, and I hated the rain. It ruined all my plans. So I look out, I see the dreary rain, I feel my attitude going down, and Jordan looks out at the rain, and she gets excited, and she goes, "Grandma, it's raining!" I'm like, "Yep." And she goes, "We get to dance." Can I tell you how many times I've danced in the rain? The rain didn't change. What changed is my perception of what the rain meant. That is what you have to do on the hard days. What does it really mean? It means we're going to fix my side-by-side. Yeah, I didn't want to do it right now, but it means I'm going to be safer on the trails. Okay, we'll take it. It means that we were there and caught the drip, the water from the faucet, the leak, and we caught it quick. It's before it did damage. Another win. The fact that they have technology that will replace my husband's shoulder, that's huge. Yeah, he can't use it very well right now. And yeah, he really doesn't want the replacement. But the alternative is not getting it fixed. So very blessed that they have that technology in order to be able to do that. There are wins that you have to look for, but you got to change your perception. You got to look at it a different way. Look at the rain and see the ability to dance. I just staying in the limiting belief for 10 minutes was a big win for me. That was one of my biggest wins this week, was saying, I went there, I didn't give up. I didn't even really think about giving up, because the minute my husband said, "Are you going to?" the answer was no. Unequivocally no. It wasn't even just me saying something automatic. It was, I felt it within my soul. I am doing what I'm meant to do, which means the finances will come along, because I truly believe I was not put here to keep suffering. I was not put here to play small. I was not put here to live in survival. I went through those things so I could become the person I need to be. But in order to do that, I have to be able to financially take care of my family. So I know it's coming. And I got to believe that this is what I'm meant to do. And if this is what I'm meant to do, then the way to go forward is there for me. And I may not have the answer today. And so when the hard shows up, not having the answer plays into my insecurity, until I remember I don't have to have the answer. I just have to keep showing up. So I'm calling my 10 minutes a win. I'm calling the losing the gas can actually a win, because it put me in that place of despair and helped me see how far I've come. Helped me see that I didn't stop there, that I chose not to let it defeat me. It had a moment of it, but it didn't stay. I kicked it out of there faster than I normally have in the past. So my growth is there, is showing, it's happening. That's a huge win. So I just want you to remember, whether it's your gas can or your 10 minutes, you've got this. Keep doing the work. Keep believing in yourself. I'm going to keep talking about this time and time and time again, because it's going to keep showing up time and time and time again in my life, in your life, in everybody's life. We're not going to have that perfect world. We're going to have hard hits. And every time it does, I want you to look at how much further you've come. And I want you to stop the story before you make it truth. Get out there. This is your time. Thank you for spending this time with me and for listening with an open heart, for choosing to invest in your growth today. If this episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with someone else who just may need the reminder that their dreams still matter. Sometimes one conversation, one message, one moment of encouragement can change everything. And if you want to go deeper, my book, Rise, Believe, Become, was written with you in mind. There is more out there for you. Your potential is so much bigger than you'll know. This is your time to find the courage to take the next step in your journey. You can find my book on Amazon. This is just Janae reminding you that no matter what phase you are in, your dreams don't expire. Until next time, keep rising.